special guest speaker to speak today. I'm excited, but I won't be the one to let you know who that is. I don't want to spoil the fun. So, anywho, who else is here today? Ooh, Ada from Delaware. Thank you, Ada. Come on, everybody, let me know where you're chiming in from. And if this is your first time here, put a one in the chat. Absolutely. And I'm chiming in from Chicago. So far, we're getting the states covered, and check out this video. This is what we are talking about, being a part of this. This is the people from coast to coast, literally. So glad you all are able to see what you are coming to be a part of and get to know the information about. And yes, we do hug. We are truly a family. Yes, family and friends. Hi, Richard. Richard's here for the first time. Thank you. Say, Richard, where are you chiming in from? Let us know either the city or the state. We just want to make sure that we're getting the West Coast to the East Coast covered. Absolutely. So who else is coming in? We're getting close to the top of the hour to get started. We want to make sure we don't exclude, or we want to welcome everyone. All right, Lake Zurich, Illinois, thank you. We got the Midwest covered. We got the East Coast. Anybody on the West? All right, it's that type of the time of the hour to get started. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the Jew Show crew. We got Jerry Ruffin, we got James Gavin, we got Bobby Johnson, we got Oscar Loraz, and we got Taretha Hampmuck, and myself as well, LaShawn Austin. So we're about to get started. Welcome. Take it away. We are sharing the video with you.
So when I got the chance to
community, and I guess that
I am so happy to be able to do a class today. Let's bring everybody up really fast. Sorry about that, you guys. Technology has its own mind, right? But thank you guys for joining. Like LaShawn said, my voice is kind of hoarse this morning, so I'm gonna turn it over to Big Jerry, and we're gonna bring out our special speaker that we all love and adore here.
absolutely, guys. Welcome to the show. We want to thank everybody for showing up, especially you, Mr. Bill Olney. We appreciate him coming out, guys. This guy, man, I mean, from running a animal sanctuary down in Atlanta, guys, this guy has when he came to this community, he was already successful. And so again, I'm not definitely going to steal his thunder, but he was successful before he arrived at this community. And I guess that's what I want to kind of ask you in the beginning, Mr. Omi. What was or I guess the question I want to ask, you dubbed yourself too cool for school. And so before you got here, like I said, you were already successful. So what was the transition that made you say, hey, I want to be a part of this community?
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. And hopefully my audio is getting out okay. I almost was late because Microsoft decided when I rebooted my system that they wanted to update all the blah, blah, blahs. I'm like, no, not right now. But I got it. It's like 1 minute, the 9:59, it was done. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay, but I'm here. Yeah, my background actually is engineering. So I did everything that they told me to do. I went to school, I got my degree. And multiple degrees, right? I've got multiple engineering degrees, and I love my job. And I worked for a job for 23 years. But then I got laid off. And I did everything you guys asked me to do. And then the world changed, and I had to start over again. So when I got the chance to start over again, I looked at it as an opportunity. And I said, well, I know a lot of people making a lot of money in real estate, and they're not working as hard as I am. So how's this real estate stuff work, right? And, books and tapes and CDs and just trying to figure it out. And I stumbled upon some really good strategies that have survived the last 25 years, crashes and dot-com busts and all that other stuff. And I'm going to talk about that today. because what I want you guys to see is the possibilities of what's going on in the economy right now. You know, this inflation thing is a big deal, and most people don't realize that during inflationary times, the middle class gets crushed, and the wealthy people just get wealthy as all get out. So are you going to make that transition to get into the wealthy group so that when inflation helps you, or are you going to struggle into the working group where people are always like, I don't have enough money and I can't afford this? Because that's what's happening. You know, the world is changing. So I think the answer to the question was, that's how I got started in real estate. And I found this group because I was looking for, I was doing it myself. And you know, it's pretty lonely when you're doing everything yourself, right? I saw this group and I'm like, okay, if these guys are as good as they say they are, I want to be part of that. And the joke was, I was a too cool for school guy. I was like, oh, I'd had to do real estate, everything. And then I took a couple of classes and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know this. And I've been doing real estate for 10 years. And so I'm like, okay, one of the phrases you'll hear around this community a lot is, you don't know what you don't know. And that's okay, right? That's the journey. And usually the people that know everything, you know what the common element to the people that know everything is? They're broke. That's the common element. And I just tell you, that's the way it works out. Okay. So anyway, yes, that's how I found the group. When you guys said, can you come on to the Juice Show? I said, I'd love to come on to the Juice Show, because I went to a couple of Juice Show presentations over the last week or 2 weeks, and I was very impressed with what you're doing. So that's it. That's how I got here.
Awesome. And so can you explain that to us? What is a broke millionaire?
Well, a broke millionaire, and you're going to see, if I say this once, I'm going to say it like 50 times.
Cash flow, baby.
Cash flow is what separates the broke people from the not broke people. A broke millionaire is somebody who has lots of equity. They own stuff, right? Let's say they own $1 million worth of real estate, but they have debt. They have bills. And then something happens where they can't make those payments. They can't pay the taxes, or the roof goes out and they can't afford a new roof, or the mortgage comes due and they can't afford that. And that becomes a cataclysmic event. Everything starts falling apart. You know, so many people are renting out houses where they need the tenants. You know, tenants paying $2,500 a month. Well, do you need the tenant, or does the tenant need you? Usually it's you desperately need that tenant. If they don't make a payment, your whole model goes out the window. But what changes that is cash flow. And so we're going to talk about how to not be a broke millionaire is to be a millionaire, and then have your cash flow generated from your wealth, not your labor. Guys, when I figured this out, I tell this story, I was trying to figure out how come, you know, real estate people were out playing golf when I was driving to work. And it started coming to me in little bits. And all of a sudden it all dawned on me. And it was like, holy crap, they just understand the rules. We're not taught the rules when we go to school. And the system, the banks, the corporations, the government, Wall Street, they have no interest in you knowing the rules. So we're going to talk about some of those rules today. And if you learn these couple of things, your whole world changes. Life becomes so much easier. That's how it goes.
Sweet. So the question that's going to lead you into it, I know Jay want to hit you with one, but what is value? You call yourself the value creator.
Value creation expert.
Expert. There we go.
I should get that like trademarked or something. I don't know if you can. Okay.
You can, absolutely.
Was there a question? Was I supposed to answer? Or did you just say I am a value creation expert?
Yeah, what's that meaning to you?
Oh, okay. So guys, look, in this journey, if you're going to be doing real estate, it's really a personal development journey. So there's a huge component of developing yourself. And he had a saying, he says, you can get anything you want in this world if you help enough other people get what they want. That's all it is. See, most people think, well, I'm going to get it. I'm going to take it from somebody else. It's a zero-sum game. That doesn't work. The goal is, as you progress through this journey, you're going to start realizing that the amount of wealth in the world is unlimited. It just hasn't been created yet. Like when Bill Gates created Microsoft, okay, it's like a $5 trillion company now. It's outrageous, right? He didn't steal $5 trillion from someone else. He actually created something out of thin air. Okay. And that's how when you start looking at real estate and what we do in this group, I mean, I might be able to show you later on how level 4 real estate investing, you can create money out of thin air and lend it out at interest. So if you created the money, what's the rate of return on the investment that you just have? It's infinity. How many investments do you have right now that pay an infinite rate of return? By the way, keep the booms coming because I get paid 1,000,000% every time I get a boom, and I'm going to get a raise. I'm told anyway. So,
And the boom is if you hear anything that resonate with you
right.
guys.
Boom is what and look, we're on the Zoom call. So, and you're going to learn this in our group. When you do a Zoom call, like I'm doing right now, only about 7% of my information is getting to you. Because so much information is nonverbal, body language, all sorts of stuff like that. We don't get any of that. So if you come out, the best you can hope for is 7%. So make use of that 7%. If you're just hiding behind your screen, black screen, I don't know if you get 1%. So it's just a thought. I mean, we ran through this with COVID, right? It was hard to get across to people what we're doing because it's not as good as having a live meeting, but it's better than no meeting, right? So that's why we're here.
So, Bill, are you saying that people will get more out of it if they had their cameras on?
They will. They will get more out if they have the camera on. And the other thing is this, and guys, turn off the TikTok, put down the Facebook, just spend the next 45 minutes listening in. Don't get distracted. Everybody tries to multitask. And you may miss something that is $1 million idea because you're watching, like me, I watch animal videos on, 3-minute animal videos. I've probably wasted a month of my life, but I like watching. But stop, put it down, put the phone down, watch what we're doing here. This is really important.
All right, Bill, let's get right into it then. Start with your experience. I know you had a slide.
Yeah, let me just do this. I'm going to do some slides here, and then we can talk and ask questions with it. So I'm going to do this. I grab my slides, and I will share my slides. And then I will open the chat line. Let me get the chat line open here because I can't see it. Hold on. I got this. Chat. Over here. There it is. Okay, so I got the chat line. I got some pictures. And type in your questions in the chat. Yeah, if I can answer them quick, well, in this case, I'll probably answer anything you give me because it's a small group and it's not a presentation, it's more of a workshop. Okay, so I am going to go to slideshow and I'm going to go from the beginning. And I was asked, actually, we came up with this together, right? So the guy said, what do we want to talk about? And I said, how about the quickest way to become wealthy in America? Is that a good topic? Right? It's like, no, not how to flip houses. No, not how to, no, get right to the meat of the matter. How do you get wealthy in the United States of America? I said, that's what I want to talk about. Okay, so there's me. I am as I said, a coach, investor, lifetime student, value creation expert. And my story was, I'm trying to move some stuff around on my screen. So give me a second here. So I can see my thing. Oh, I've done about 200 real estate deals. I own about 40 real estate properties right now. And here's the interesting thing. The things we're going to talk about today, everybody's worried about whether you're going to have a market crash. Is the world coming to an end? World War III. The stuff we're going to talk about today, guys, is about as bulletproof as you can do in real estate. I mean, I've watched it happen. And every time I've deviated from this model, it's not as good. So that's why we'll talk about it. And one of the things we talk about cash flow. If you've got rental houses or you're doing models and you've watched some, other videos and you're like, oh, we can get 8% or 4%. If you're not making 30 to 100% a year on your rentals, you got to watch this. Okay. Because this will blow your mind. Okay. So where was I? Oh, there's me collecting the rents. Okay, I do actually have a thing like that. And actually, I pulled all these up today. I went to the PO box yesterday. I know it's just a shameless plug for passive income, but here.
Well, because your parents named you Omi, they knew you were going to be the best.
And everybody calls me, Bill, you owe me the rent. So I had to do this, right? It was just destiny. Okay, so let's do a little training because all this stuff matters. And again, there's a personal development element of this. Everybody's like, oh, I just want to do a real estate deal. It's like, yeah, that's not how it quite works. Okay, so let's get trained up a little bit and then you'll see why this is so important. So, how do wealthy folks think? Wealthy folks and working folks think differently. And unfortunately, we're not told that. We're told to get a job, go to school, study hard, be dependent, right? We're dependent upon the job. We're dependent upon the government. We're dependent upon Wall Street for our retirement. But what you focus on is what you're going to get. So you're all right here today. Congratulations. You came out. You said, I'm going to spend an hour with these guys. The question is tomorrow, after we go through some of this training, are you going to go up the path of the wealthy folk? That's about 1% of the population. Or are you going to go along the path of the working folk? Okay, it's not good or bad, guys. It's just different. Working folks and wealthy folks look at the system differently. So working folks, the first thing they focus on is debt. They have lots of debt. We are taught to get into debt. Think about student loans, which are so bad, right? We're getting in debt before we have a job. And the banks are collecting money of us after we die. That's how bad the system is, right? So working folks, they tend to be a human resource. They tend to work for linear income, which means if you want more money as a working person, you got to work harder or get another job or drive Grubhub or what's those other things, Lyft and Uber. You got to put more effort in to get more money. It's linear because what they're doing is they're trading time for money. Okay. The second thing that working folks focus on is liabilities because we're taught to buy stuff. I mean, 60, 70% of our GDP is just people buying crap. Okay. But the worst part is, what do we buy the stuff with? Debt. So not only are we buying stuff that's just falling apart and we're putting in the landfill, but we're borrowing money and paying interest to do it. It's like, oh, but that's what we're taught to do. And the third thing that we focus on is taxes. Guys, if you're not educated, if you don't understand the tax code, about a third of your life will go towards paying taxes. It's brutal. Okay. Now, so I had to stop collection because yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to watch the chat line and do this at the same time. So who benefits from the debt? The bankers, guys, the richest people on the planet. They can commit fraud. They can do whatever they want and they will never go to jail. The government will always bail them out with your tax money. They are too big to fail. Okay. The second is the corporations. The companies you work for, they're selling you stuff. So they benefit from you buying it. And the third thing is our wonderful government, state, local, federal, whatever it is. Everybody's got a tax. Now, wealthy people do it differently. What wealthy people focus on is they don't want to trade time for money. They want to develop income systems. Okay, income systems as in you develop it once and it pays and pays and pays and pays and pays, like a rental house. Okay, so they're developing income systems because there's so much more leverage in that. The second thing is they don't focus on liabilities. They focus on acquiring assets, especially cash flowing assets. Okay. And we're going to show you how to create wealth instantly. Wealthy people don't save their money and buy their wealth. They create the wealth instantly. Funny how we're not taught to do this, right? Okay. The third thing is write-offs. They don't focus on taxes. They focus on write-offs because they understand the tax code. The tax code is an amazingly beautiful thing. Everybody's afraid of the tax code. Are you kidding? It's the most wonderful set of laws on the planet. And it's all in your favor if you just play by the rules. Okay, so who benefits? Well, if you're up to 1%, if you're focusing along with the 1% are doing, this is abundance and opportunity. This is unlimited. This is very clear. Okay, there's not a lot of drama up here. But if you're focusing where working people do, there's a lot of scarcity and fear of loss. This is the no side of the equation. No, we can't go to Disney World this year, kids. We don't have enough money. No, mom and dad can't buy a bicycle for you. You're going to have to use a skateboard. No, 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 no. Okay. And it's competition. Okay. Wealthy people collaborate. Working people compete. Okay. So if you're up at the top, once you've taken care of your needs, and guys, once you've got enough money to pay your bills, I mean, do you need a G5, right? Do you need an aircraft? No. You could start doing things with it. You could start helping people. You have your charities or your passions in life. I don't know what those are. And part of what I want you to think about it, we're on this meeting today, is why are you here? If you had it all figured out and you were making money and you didn't have to struggle for the buck, what would you be doing with your time? Because everybody has a purpose on this planet, and it's not to grind it out. Okay. But down at the bottom, you can barely help yourself. This is the struggle. This is, oh my God, my tooth fell out of my head. I don't have enough money to get it fixed, right? My car broke down. I can't fix it. That's the world and the working folk, especially with inflation. And I'm watching it with my tenants, right? Where they don't have savings. They don't have, 401ks and all this sort of thing. They're just living hand to mouth. And when the price of eggs goes up, they don't have enough money. Okay, so what are you focusing on, and what are you going to focus on tomorrow when we get out of this training? Are you going to focus on what wealthy people focus on or what working people focus on? Okay. The second thing that's so important, guys, when I learned this is just like, oh my God. Let's talk about the taxes a little bit. Okay. So words have meaning. Right around the corner, April 15th, 1040 forms, all that, right? H&R Block. It's called an income tax. When I figured this out, it changed everything. We're taught to focus on income in the system. Think about it. You need more money, you need more income. You need another job, you need a raise. And when you get more money, what happens to your tax rates? They go up. So people are like, wait a minute, I'm making more money and I'm taking home less. We tax income. We don't tax wealth or cash flow in this country. Think about this. You can have millions and millions of dollars worth of wealth and you won't pay a dime in taxes. Okay? It's called an income tax, not a wealth. In fact, every time somebody talks about a wealth tax, some politician, they disappear. They disappear from the public discussion because wealthy people are like, oh no, 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 no. We like the way it is. So we don't tax wealthy people in the United States. What we tax is high income earners. So again, what are you focusing on? So working people do this. They focus on income. They want as much income as possible. More. 2 jobs. Wife goes to work. Spouse goes to work. Dog is doing a job, right? Kids are going to work. So they get a lot of income. That means they get a lot of taxes. And then they have a lot of expenses because they like to buy stuff, right? And then if there's anything left over, which guys, most of the time there isn't, that's what they use for wealth. That's the rat race. Okay. And if you see, and look, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm telling you, it's a mindset. I was that way. I was making $150,000 a year as an engineer. I lost my job. I had to go get another job. I was like, whoa, this isn't good. I can't pay my bills. Okay. Now, working people, then wealthy people, they limit their income on purpose. What they focus, and that limits their taxes. What they focus on is building wealth and having the wealth produce their cash flow. Okay, so what's that, the 10th time I've said it? So what their emphasis is cash flow. We don't tax cash flow, we tax income. Okay, well, where was I? Because this is good. Okay, so the bottom line is if you learn to create wealth without creating income, you avoid the whole tax thing. So example, I know people's heads are like, what are you talking about? I don't believe, I have CPAs and MBAs that like, you don't know what you're talking about. I went to school for 10 years. It's not that way. I go, oh yeah, it is. Watch. So Bill Gates creates Microsoft. He sells off most of the company to the public, but he keeps $20 billion worth of Microsoft stock. Is that wealth? Yeah, that's wealth, right? How much taxes does Bill Gates owe on the 20 billion he just created out of thin air? Zero. There's no income. Now, if Bill Gates says, hey, I want to be the CEO of Microsoft and they're going to pay me 100,000 a year, is he going to pay taxes just like everybody else? Yep. Right. Same rules. But what wealthy people learn is they don't give a crap about income. They're producing wealth. They're called wealthy people. They're not called incomey people. It's like right there, right? Everybody's like, oh, this is so difficult. No, it's not. It's super easy. Okay. And you can do the same thing in real estate. We're going to show you this in a second. You can create wealth out of thin air. You don't have to be Bill Gates. You can just be Joe Smith. Now, why is this like this? It's like it because who writes the tax code? Are they wealthy people or working people? Wealthy people. Your congressmen, your senators, they're all multimillionaires. And the people that get them elected are even richer. So they're not going to let some congressman put a wealth tax in. Now, they say they will. Guys, you're in the middle of an election year. How many times are you going to hear from your politicians on TV ads and everything else? If you elect me, I will make those rich people pay their fair share. You ever heard that before? Every 4 years, it comes to a crescendo. And then the wealthy people go, oh, no, 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 no. You're not going to do that. No, no, no. Not if you want our millions of dollars. And all of a sudden, yeah, I guess we're not going to do that. Okay. So what do you focus on is the real question. And the secret is hidden in plain sight. How this is what wealthy folks are focused on accumulating wealth that produces cash flow. Working folks are looking for income. Okay. Now, where was I? Any questions? I mean, otherwise I'll march on if you guys have anything we can talk about. No? You're all good? Heads are going to explode?
All good. This is great, Bill. You're doing a great job.
Okay. So let's do this with real estate. Okay. There's a reason why 90% of the millionaires in this country become wealthy through real estate. And listen, I learned this. I didn't know. So there's 4 levels of real estate investing. And if you're in our group, you're going to know this, but this is important. First level is wholesaling. Because everybody says, oh, I want to be a wholesaler. Why? Because it really doesn't take any money or credit. There's really no, you know what the risk in wholesaling? It's not money or credit. It's wasted time. If you're going to be a wholesaler and you stink at it, you're going to waste everybody's time. You're going to waste your time, seller's time, the buyer's time, your closing attorney's time, your contract. You're going to have everybody not take your phone calls because you're not closing deals. Okay. But if you're a good wholesaler, you are a value creation expert. Because I know about 200 people in this group that would be like in your speed dial. Okay, so you might make $3,000 to $5,000 and you got to get it done in 30 days. It's a 30-day cycle. Now, fixing and flipping, oh, I see it on TV. My wife loves these things, right? Home and Garden Channel, and they fix and flip a house in 18 minutes. Well, it doesn't quite work that way. So now you got some more responsibility. So you got to either buy the house, which is going to take money or credit, yours or somebody else's, doesn't have to be yours, or you're going to learn how to control properties. Imagine buying properties with no money or credit. It happens every day, but we don't know what we don't know. Okay, so on a fix and flip, can you lose money? Yes, you can get killed. And there's people out there right now who are getting killed because 3 years ago it was easy. It ain't as easy as it was. It takes more skill now. Interest rates are higher and property prices are falling in some areas. That takes skill, but that also means there's less competition. So your goal here is to make between 30 and 50 on a deal. It's going to take about 6 months. That's the life of a fix and flipper. Now, buy and hold. Okay, this is where the angels sing. You ever see on TV like buy and hold and then you hear la and the bright light shines? That's what happens right now. Okay, so buy and hold is now, you know why it's important? Because now you're getting into the wealth creation side. Guys, if you want to be a fix and flipper or wholesale, you're as good as your last deal. If you stop working, you stop making money. But buy and hold is where you can make, I don't know, 30 to $1 million if you want, because time is your friend. The longer you hold it, the more money you're going to make. And then finally, money lending. But we're not talking about money lending where you saved up $100,000 and you're lending it at 10%. I'm talking about where you create the money. So the ultimate money lending deal is where you're lending it out at infinite return. And if we have time, we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so levels 1 and 2 are earned income. If you've had a job, you know how that works with taxes, but it's also transactional, just like a job. You go to work, you get paid. You go to work, you get paid. You flip a house, you get paid. You do a wholesale deal, you get paid. If you stop doing it, or if the economy changes so you can't do it, COVID, banks go bust, then you don't make any money. Okay. But levels 3 and 4, that's a job. Levels 3 and 4 this is the wealth creation and passive income side. Okay. Does anybody here want to know the quickest way to become a millionaire in the United States? Like the title of the thing. The quickest way to become wealthy. Okay. I'm going to get that. Taritha. Everybody else, cover your ears. The quickest way to become wealthy is to buy cash flowing assets. You can buy or control, but to accumulate cash flowing assets at a discount to today's value. Tattoo this on your arm. Now, in my world, I'm a little house guy. It could be an apartment guy, it could be a commercial guy, whatever. I'm a little house guy. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a $100,000 house, but there's something going on. There's some people problem or property problem or regulatory problem, whatever. And the person really doesn't want the house anymore. It's a problem. And I can buy that $100,000 house for 40 grand. Okay, just simply buying the property, nothing else. 100,000 minus 40 grand, that's 60,000 in equity. That's wealth. So just the act of buying the property, which I don't even think you have to sign anything, maybe a HUD statement, you're $60,000 richer. And how much taxes do you owe on the 60 grand you just created in one day? Zero, because you created wealth. You didn't create income. And when I started realizing this, it was like, holy crap. Why don't they teach this? Okay, so 100,000, 40,000, and guys, this happens every day. Now, it might not happen in your world every day, but there's properties, people have property problems. Okay, so whether it's foreclosure, bankruptcy, tax deeds, tired landlords, illness, divorce, incarceration, whatever human condition or property condition there is, properties are selling below market value. Okay, and investors are buying those things by creating value. Okay, and it might be a property that has damage to it that nobody wants to deal with. Okay, you can deal with it, you know how. Okay, so and if you want to do this quicker, then do little apartment buildings, right? And the apartment buildings you're looking for, you're not looking for 50 units, 100 units, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units, mom and pop apartment buildings. But they got problems. Maybe what? There's a meth lab in the basement. The cops are there all the time. The windows are boarded up. Code enforcement's putting stickers all over. There's liens against the property from everybody who's annoyed, right? So you know, because you learned to analyze it, and you say, you know what, this property in good condition is worth about 600 grand. But you know what, I got a tired landlord who may not be able to refinance it. This is a huge thing coming up where people can't refinance commercial properties. 100, it's worth, I don't know, 600, 350. The gap there is $250,000. I mean, we have guys in our group that just bought, $4 million houses for 180 for 1.8 million. I mean, so you could become a millionaire on one deal. And people are like, oh, no, you got to work 16 jobs. No. Your job is to create value. That's where it comes into. Okay, so job turns into financial independence because 1 and 2, you got to keep doing it. Get off the roller coaster. You stop making money. But 3 and 4, you set it up once. Right? So if I have a rental house, if I set it up once, it could pay me for decades. In fact, it could pay my kids for decades. Okay. By the way, I have a thing, and somebody has to prove me wrong. I don't know any super wealthy people that leave their wholesaling and their fix and flip business to their kids. That's not common. But plenty of families leave what? Cash flowing assets, apartment buildings, storage units, trailer parks, single, double, triplexes. That's what wealthy people hold. Okay. Again, wealth, not income. Okay, so that's the quickest way to become a millionaire, and it goes from the little checks or the big checks. Everybody loves the big checks, so you'll get a big thrill when you make $50,000 or $60,000. But it's the little checks at your PO box, whether you want them or not. Okay, that's what changes everything. Okay, so 90% of the millionaires do it through this real estate investing, and you got to get to levels 3 and 4. Okay, and I'll give you the plan again: 2-step program, buy or control cash flowing assets at a huge discount, and create tax-free wealth instantly, and then maximize cash flow. The job of that asset is not just to be pretty. The job of that asset is to put money in your pocket. Because my wife will tell you, you can't buy groceries with equity. She went to Publix and Walmart with the stack of deeds of the houses I own. They wouldn't sell her hamburgers. But cash flow, yes, everybody understands cash flow. Okay, so this is sort of the model. And I know I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff, but I just want you to see when I figured this out, it was like, holy crap. It's really good. Okay, and cash flow is everything. Cash flow is like oxygen. Cash flow keeps you out of trouble. You can't go broke if you have too much cash flow. It's like you can't be too pretty or too thin or too, whatever the things are, right? Or too rich. You can't go broke with cash flow. Okay, so if you're seeing our group, we work in this group across the nation, and we basically have 4 tenets or 4 concepts that we focus on. Education, you got to learn some stuff. Okay, properties, an emphasis on wealth, not just wages. Income, now we have an income opportunity in our group. It should say cash flow, but income works good because I did this epic thing. Just a little bugaboo. I'm not inconsistent. I know what I'm doing. And then finally, community. And guys, this is my question on the community side. And this is one of the reasons I joined the group. Who are you hanging out with? And I mean this. When you have questions, when you're trying to figure out, putting the kids through school, retirement, buying a house, getting out of the 3-job situation, are you hanging out with people that you're comfortable with? Right? Good for barbecues, good for football games. Or are you hanging out with people that inspire you, that are farther along than you, that are where you might want to be? See, if you're in a community like ours with thousands of people, we have everything from people just starting out that can't spell real estate, and that's fine, up through folks that have done decades worth of deals, $1 million deals. So there's always somebody along there that's like a little bit farther than you are that you can ask questions to, you can partner up with, maybe get a little mentorship. You don't get that if you're watching YouTube videos. And you're going to hear me rag on the broke YouTube geniuses in the world, okay? That have watched every YouTube video and they're living in their mother's basement, smoking a little because they have headaches, right? But they ain't getting it done because they ain't doing anything. They're talking. They're texting their friends and telling them how great it's going to be when they finally do something. Okay, so education is going to get you knowledge. Properties are going to buy you time. Everybody thinks, oh, properties are going to buy you money. No, you're trading time for money right now. So the properties start producing your money. You have time back. You're like, well, I got this afternoon off. I don't need to do anything. What are you going to do with the time? Income, money, again, you got to be making money while you're building wealth. Otherwise, you're a broke millionaire. And then finally, relationships. So here's a quiz, real quick. Quiz. I don't know, how much time do I have? Am I going over time? 10:43. Ooh.
Oh, you're good.
I might have to shorten some stuff up. But the system teaches you which currency, these are 4 currencies. Which currency are you taught to be obsessed with? To focus all your life on, you never have enough of it, and you'll trade every other currency for it. Money, right? Everybody knows it. Wealthy people don't focus on money. What wealthy people do is they focus on knowledge and relationships. They focus on what they know, because the more they know, the more valuable they are. But it's also who they know. right? Everybody thinks, oh, you have to, it's who you know. No, 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 it's both. Does a brain surgeon make more money than a customer service person? Yes, because they're more valuable to society. So you want to be increasing your knowledge and increasing your relationships. And then the money's everywhere. That's just, there it is. I'll give you an example because you don't believe me. The banking system, okay? Richest people on the planet, they have all the money. But if you learn how to have a credit profile, if you learn how how you look to the banking system, it's not your credit karma score, how your credit profile looks to the banking system, and you optimize it, you can borrow all the money you want at the lowest possible rates. And the banks will be, oh, how much do you want? Millions? We got it. But people they don't have the knowledge to get those relationships. That it's crazy, right? But people are taught, no, 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 go to work, get a job. Okay, so something is preventing you from doing real estate investing and owning a business. Usually it's a shortage of one of those currencies or fear. And fear is really a lack of knowledge and a lack of relationships. That's fear. Okay. So that's why we do this in our group. Now, do you guys want to do the retirement thing, or am I jamming up too much time here? What do you want to go on to?
That will probably go over a little bit, but we do want to make sure that everybody is aware that we are having an introduction meeting after this call. So
Okay.
if you want to, I did want you to kind of touch on your class and how that, kind of plays part in it.
One of the things I want you guys to look at, and I'm going to storm through this pretty quickly, is investing for retirement. Okay. Is right now, if you work for 40 years, okay, how much can you sell your job for? Nothing, right? It has no value whatsoever. But if you die, how much can you leave your kids? Can you leave your job to your kids? No, you have no value. The job disappears when you don't do it anymore. Okay. What I want you to start thinking of is start acquiring assets over some amount of time. So here I just said 4 little rental houses for 5 years. You're going to buy them at a discount. So you're going to create out of thin air, let's say $30,000 to $50,000 per house. How long will it take you to save 30 to 50,000? It's impossible, right? And then you're going to be a value creation person for those tenants, and they're going to actually pay off the house because they need your real estate. They need to live somewhere. So what are 20 free and clear houses worth? Okay, that's about 1.4 million. Okay. But what's amazing is the old way, if you look at the little chart I have here, if you do what Wall Street's teaching you, to make 10,000 bucks a month for 20 years, you're going to need like 3.4 million, which is easier to do. It's a lot easier to do the second way. Okay. But how much cash flow will those properties generate? Because remember, you can't eat your nest egg. The goal is not to eat your nest egg. Well, it's really easy on a paid off house to make 700 a month times 20. That's 14,000 a month coming into your bank account. But it's every month, right? It's like, oh, first of the month, let's do another 14,000. Oh, I don't need it for bills. Okay, well, let's go on a trip. Let's go to dinner. Let's buy a car, whatever we want to do. Anybody here worried about tenants? Like, oh, I don't want to be a landlord. I've heard so many terrible stories. It's scary, scary, scary. If you have trouble with tenants, and this is my experience, it's usually your fault. Usually. I mean, you can have just bad people as tenants, but if you do some of the stuff in my class, you don't get bad tenants. Because the tenants, they want you to be successful because it makes them successful. Again, that value creation thing. Okay. Is there going to be more or less demand for housing in the future? Oh, so much more. Guys, we just let 10 million people walk across the southern border. Did anybody build one house for them? No. After this election, there's going to be a crisis. Where are these people going to live? I mean, in Massachusetts, the governor is asking private citizens to open up their house and let strangers live in their house. That's how bad the situation is. Okay, so how do we know this works? This has been working for hundreds of years. This is the most common real estate that there is. Okay, but real quick, I'm going to storm through this. Asset base versus cash flow base. You're told to be an asset base. You got to save a ton of money. Under cash flow, you got to create value. You got to start like 30 years ago to retire, right? Nobody's retiring at 40 years old from a company. But here, you can become financially free in a handful of years if you just focus on the value creation. And one of the reasons is because you can't buy stocks, bonds, or mutual funds at a discount, but you can buy real estate at a huge discount. You got to be older to retire. Here, you can retire at whatever age you want. I mean, I was done at 44, and some people do faster than me. Nest egg is being depleted. Under the new way, your portfolio is growing. Under the old way, you have to go out and earn this money. You got to go earn the money to get the 3% or the 6% or whatever it is. Here, you don't need your money. If you're creating value, there's money everywhere that wants to invest with you. So under the old way, you're just a victim of Wall Street. If market goes up, you're happy. If market goes down, you're not. Under the cash flow base, you have total control. Okay. And this is a big one because inflation destroys your retirement account. Whereas inflation makes you wealthy under the second way. Okay. And I'll go through something really quick. How much is this house worth? Well, its fair market value is $100,000. But if you value it on a cash flow basis, on how much cash flow it'll generate, it's actually worth $204,000. Meaning $204,000 in the bank at 4% will get you the same cash flow that you can spend as that little house, which, by the way, we paid $28,000 for it. So $28,000 is the same as $204,000. I don't know about you, but it's a lot easier to buy a $28,000 house than save $204,000. But it gets better because if you have cash in the bank, it's depreciating. Inflation is ripping apart your purchasing power. But the house, the wealth actually appreciates to compensate for inflation. You can't buy dollars at a discount. There's no way to buy dollars for 50 cents. Okay, maybe some areas of Chicago, but probably little seedy areas over there, or Atlanta. But you can buy houses at a deep discount all the time, right? And you got to go earn the 204. But again, you can buy the properties with other people's money. Okay. And then you're going to learn something called velocity banking, which is really going to shake your foundation in the banking system and show you how much money you're paying in interest that you don't have to pay. Okay. So all this stuff's going to come into play. And here's just a couple of properties. This is what's possible for you guys. So there was the house I just mentioned, right? There's another house just like it down the street. That house is worth $240,000. This is a mobile home. Anybody tells you you don't like mobile homes, you got to reconsider. So we bought this mobile home for $7,000, but since it rents for $800 a month, it's worth $192,000 on a cash flow basis. And then finally, this is a great one. We bought this one, me and my partner Rusty. We bought this house at a tax auction for $4,000. What does Zillow say it's worth? 120 something thousand. So if you look at this, we created $115,000 in one day, but it cash flows, it rents for $1,100 a month. So on a cash flow basis, this house that we bought for $4,000 is worth $264,000. Now, look, are all deals this good? No, you learn how to find them. You learn what you're looking for. And it takes time. I didn't buy, this is not my first deal. My first deal was a very traditional rental house, which was like, sort of boring, 10% return. But when you start learning that you can make hundreds, I mean, look at the cash flow on that, $1,100 a month, we paid $4,000. So that's like what, 250% a year? There's nobody on the internet that will show you how to make 250% a year on a rental house. They will tell you it doesn't exist, okay? And we teach this in the classes. You'll see this in the classes. Okay, and there's me getting into the house. So that's a funny picture because when you buy a tax deed, if you don't know it, you don't get the keys to the property. You have to get in. And I didn't want to break the door down, so I found an open window. And the funny thing was when I was breaking into the window, the cops drove by. And you hear, whoop, whoop, right? Little cop thing, whoop, whoop. I'm like, oh, crap, right? So the cop goes over, he goes, hey, buddy, what are you doing? And I go, well, I just bought this house as a tax deed. He goes, you got any paperwork? I said, yeah, right here. I said, can you take a picture of me? He's like, yeah. So he took a picture of me breaking into the house. Little town. The
Breaking
cops are
in,
pretty cool.
breaking in, getting that cash flow, man. I
Cash
love
flow,
it.
right? And
Love it.
again, you don't know, you know, why could I buy it for $4,000? I don't know. Nobody else bid on it for some reason. Okay. And I bought it into a retirement account. So that house is sitting in my retirement account, creating $1,100 a month, just every month. I don't care if the stock market goes up, goes down, doesn't matter. Okay. So all of
Yeah.
this comes into play. What was the last thing you wanted me to talk about? You want to talk about what did you want to talk about?
Well, if
Because
we
I'm,
could go ahead and let get to the people that wanted to get to the introduction, and
okay.
we can still continue, Bill, because nobody wants you to go. No one wants you to leave at all.
Okay. Well, I just threw a bunch, it's hard
No,
to
no,
judge what 45 minutes is.
no,
Right.
we still
Yeah.
want you to continue. So go ahead so we can get people
Okay.
to the intro. Pull
But you
out your
guys
cell phones, everybody. Pull out
go
your
to the,
cell phones and text to the person that invited you here, intro, so they can get the link to you so that you can go ahead and attend in about 10 minutes to the introduction. Okay. Once again, pull out your cell phones, text the person that invited you because there is still more information to get. And just text them intro. They'll know what it means and they'll send you the link. All right, go ahead and take it away, guys.
All right, all right. I'm going to go through these right quick so we can get back to this information. Every Sunday on the Juice Show, this is where you want to be, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. This is what's going on. Come get your information from people in the community and see what we're doing. Next, we have at 11 o'clock, right in 5 minutes, we have an introduction of who we are, what we do, and how you can get involved. This is what we're doing. This is the community you're a part of. And if this is your first time on the Juice Show, and this is one of your first exposures, this is where you would like to be. This is what we're doing. This is how you can get involved. 3 o'clock today, we have the mastermind trainings for the people that know, the people who have leads. This is where you want to come to see if they're deals. So turn your leads into deals with the mastermind trainings where they'll go through how you found it, how you fund it, how they're going to fund it, what different strategies to use, and what is your exit strategies. This is all Chinese to you. Come here, get more knowledgeable about it, and come make sure that your leads are deals.
Get out of the rat race. If you consider your
Facebook, all right, I do not have the link to link you. I apologize, but check it out.
recording. So back to you, Bill.
Okay, guys. So let's go do a couple more things that I think will be of interest to you guys. And again, a lot of this is out of the class I teach, which is in the Renatus curriculum. So I just pulled some highlights out so you guys can see what's possible. So get the classes. Okay, so analyzing the deals. This is a good thing, and I'm you guys that are starting out, everybody has spreadsheets that talk to spreadsheets with all these internal, numbers and fractions, and they get really crazy because I had all that, right? As you get smarter, it gets simpler. Okay, I only have 3 questions. I can tell a deal in 10 seconds if it's a good deal. And you go, why? Because I'm only looking for a couple of things. So the first thing you look for, this is me, okay, and you can do what you want with it. How much of a discount am I buying the property? Guys, the easiest money you ever make in real estate ain't flipping a house, ain't wholesaling. It's buying properties at a discount and creating wealth instantly. Look at that house I bought. I got $115,000 in one day. That's almost like ridiculous, right? That's stupid money. But it happens because you learn what you're doing. So how much of a discount can you buy the property? So any property you're looking at, don't buy it 100 cents on the dollar. Don't get in a bidding war. Learn how to be looking for properties that have places where you can create value. Okay. But you'll find you can buy a property at a discount. So how much am I getting? So let's say it's $50,000. Okay. Made it past that. Then the second question is, how much cash flow will that property produce? Because remember, I don't want to be a broke millionaire. I don't want to have 10 acres of land that doesn't produce anything and cost me money every year. What I want is assets. If I'm going to buy a piece of land, can I put cows on it? Is there a cell tower on it? Can I grow marijuana on it? I mean, something, give me something that's making money. Okay. And you want to also, because that keeps you out of trouble. So how much cash flow? And remember, you're going to learn ways that other people don't look at properties and strategies you can use to create value for your tenants that other people are like, they don't even know it exists. Okay. And then the third one is, if it makes it past the first two, it's a spectacular deal. But you got one last question, which is there something I'm missing? Why am I the smartest person in the room? Why has nobody else bought this property? Okay. Is it have lead-based paint? Crazy homicidal neighbors. When it rains, there's 4 inches of water in the basement. Something that, oh yeah, that's why nobody's bought it. But what you're gonna start to learn, guys, is you very often will be the smartest person in the room. At first you're like scared and you're nervous and you're like, oh, everybody's smarter than I am. And you start realizing, no, you just have to be a little bit smarter than the other guys. Okay. And you'll start picking up properties with these criteria and other people are afraid to touch. Okay. So teaming up with tenants, and this is just, again, little houses, whether it's mobile homes or little houses, you can generate tremendous cash flow compared to traditional rentals, right? And this is what I do, and you'll see it. I only rent to people that want to own the house. So you guys are worried about tenants. You think I get a better caliber of tenant if this person really wants to own the place rather than just live there? Yes. And here's the cool statistic. 90% of the US population, it might be more, but the last I looked, 90% of the US population cannot get a mortgage. You are their only freaking hope. You are a superhero. Okay. 80% is not eligible for a bank loan. Now it's 90. 50% of America, and I'm talking about like the Walmart employees, service sector employees, the middle America, guys. 50% of America is unbankable, meaning they don't have a bank account. Okay. And you get to replace the banks that won't lend to them and capture the banking profits. There's a reason why the banks are the richest people on the planet. Okay. And there's insatiable demand between immigration, population growth, open borders, whatever. There's never been more demand for what's going on. And there's 4 factors that are causing that. The first one is unlimited immigration. We've lost our minds and we're just letting all sorts of people come into the country. Okay. The second thing is, during the low interest rate period, a lot of landlords sold their rental units to first-time home buyers because they qualified for ridiculous mortgages, right? You get a mortgage for 3% and the landlord can get $200,000 for a house that they paid 30 grand for. They're like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm good. So hundreds of thousands of houses were pulled off the rental market and sold to first-time home buyers. The third thing that happens is builders can't afford to build new houses that regular people can afford. All the builders are out there building luxury houses for the 10% of the population that get all the bank money they want. Okay. So there's no more inventory coming in. And the fourth thing, which I didn't think of, Bob Tierney suggested this, the short-term rental business has pulled tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of properties off the market. Right now, people have converted their houses from rentals into hotel rooms. And that means there's less room for the people that need regular houses. So this is a big deal, okay? So here's an example of a mobile home. And I told you how mobile homes are spectacular. We bought this mobile home for $7,000. That's the mobile home and the land. Okay. Costs $1,000 to rehab it, but it rents for $600 a month, which means it has almost 100% cash flow per year. I could raise the rent to $1,000 a month, but I'm just like, no, they're paying enough. They're struggling. But this is cash flow. Okay. This is obscene cash flow. It's great cash flow. It ain't what you're reading about on the internet. It ain't the what do they call it? The 1% rule. Good God, man. No. Okay. So, and it's worth 53,000. So we bought it for 7 grand. It's worth 53. So we just created 45,000 in equity. on what, $8,000 invested? I don't know what that is, 600% return instantly. Other than maybe Vegas, I don't know where you can get that type of a return in real estate or in anything. And we actually got the home for free. We got the home for free, and you're going to learn how to do this also. We bought the land, and we didn't get title to the house. And the bank was freaking out. They're like, we don't have title. And I talked to my lawyer, and I said, Jay, I said, can I do something here? He goes, oh, yeah, buy the land. I says, what are you talking about? He goes, buy the land. The house is abandoned. He says, we'll fill out some paperwork and get the house for free. He goes, it happens all the time. I'm like, it happens all the time? How come you never told me? He goes, oh, I didn't know you wanted to know. I'm like, yes, I want to know about every one that comes for free. I want free houses. He's like, oh, okay, next one comes up, I'll let you know. Right? I didn't know. And of course, nobody else would touch it. And we knew how to go through the legal process to get the house for free. And it's in a retirement account. So all that money just piles up a retirement account. Here's a classic. I show this because this is your rental house. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,200 square feet, hardwood floors, half an acre of land. Okay. It's worth 90. Boom. You don't know what you don't know. Right. And look, I'm giving you 25 years of experience here. So some of this stuff looks like magic right now, but it's because I've spent time doing it. It's just, like I said, I'm just farther along on the learning path than somebody who's just looking at this for the first time. But there's a saying in real estate. You know when the best time to buy real estate is? Either 20 years ago or today, right? I mean, yeah, it'd be great if you knew 20 years ago and you went out and mortgaged your brains out to buy real estate, you were 30 million bucks right now. But the point is, in 10 years from now, the dollar, it's going to take 30 bucks to buy a loaf of bread. They're going to keep devaluing the dollar. That's their only strategy, guys. This is what governments do when they get in debt, when they make commitments to the population that they can't keep, right? So we paid $15,301. Like, how did you do that? Well, it wasn't a tax deed and it wasn't a short sale. We created 75,000 in equity. And how did we find this deal? Well, this was a county foreclosure auction. And you're going to learn this in the classes, but this is my favorite 2 strategies are foreclosures and tax deeds. So every month, I don't know if you know this, tens of thousands of properties across the United States are auctioned off. Every month, tens of thousands of properties are auctioned off because people don't pay their mortgage. They signed a commitment, they're not paying their mortgages, and the bank is taking their houses. Okay. Now, every state is different. This is what's so cool. I don't know where you guys are from. I'm in Georgia. And in Georgia, we have the rules. The rules in Georgia are we auction the properties off on the first Tuesday of the month, which is next Tuesday, which I got to get serious about looking at properties today. First Tuesday of the month, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. in front of the courthouse. So there's 159 counties in Georgia. Next Tuesday at 10 a.m., you could hear 159 simultaneous auctions taking place. Here's my question. Where are you when this is taking place? Where I told you, we don't know what we don't know. Are you hanging out with people that know this, that are talking like I'm talking? Or are they talking about the football game or the basketball game? And listen, I like football and basketball, but it ain't going to make me wealthy, right? So learning how this works, whatever state you're in. I have a guy right now that's going to come from Washington State, and he's coming to the auction in Georgia because he sees some incredible values, right? Okay. It's $1,000 a month for cash flow. Oh, here's the story. This is a funny story. Okay, I told you how it works in Georgia, right? Who's the guy in the blue shirt?
That's you, Bill.
That's me, right? Who's the guy in the green shirt?
Another buyer?
An
Court
auction
clerk.
The auction.
The auction guy, the foreclosing attorney. What's the big building, the brick building?
Oh, courthouse?
Courthouse. So there I am at the courthouse. What is there not in that picture?
Other
More
people.
more people? Only you. Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Why was there nobody else there?
They were
Because they
busy.
don't they were busy. They had everybody's busy. I got to drive the kids to school. I got to go to the grocery store. And but wealthy people focus a little differently, right? That's why when I paid $15,301, the guy comes up. This is a good story since I have you guys for a minute. So the guy comes up, and I've been sitting there for like a half an hour. Nobody's here. I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be spectacular, right? So the guy comes up. He goes, hey, man, are you here for the auction? I go, yeah. Are you going to be bidding? He goes, no, I'm the lawyer. I'm going to be closing the deal. And I said, can we get started like now? He looks around. He goes, you're the only one here. I go, yeah, it's like now, right? He goes, okay. Blah, 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 blah. It's like they actually cry the auction on the steps. They say all the legal stuff. First bid is by Wells Fargo for $15,300. Are there any other bidders? Yeah,
Oh.
15,301. Sold to the guy with the funny hat, $15,301.
Wow.
I've done it 4 times where I've been the only bidder in an auction.
What day is the auction in Georgia?
It's always the first Tuesday of the month. But every state, now, if I did not do this in downtown Atlanta, if I go to a county where there's 100 people competing with me, I'm not going to get a deal. But there's 13 metro counties and there's probably 100 rural counties in Georgia. It's a different event, right? What I'm just trying to show you is you'll find a niche. You'll find where you want to be doing your business. Okay. And it could be probate. It could be, looking up divorces. It could be, I don't know, MLS. It could be anything. There's plenty of ways to buy properties, but you gotta, you gotta do it, right? So 90% of success in this business, it ain't talking a good game. I don't know how many people I've said, oh yeah, I'm going to be there at the next auction, right? They ain't going to no auction. They ain't going to do nothing, man. They're watching TikTok videos, right? But how are you going to learn to do this? Well, you're going to learn, okay, because we have these classes to teach you how to do it. But then the most important thing is you got to take action. And that's the big thing that's a barrier. And look, I understand because it's scary. When you're first starting out, it's scary. And are you going to go down to an auction with a suitcase full of money? No. The first one you go to, you're going to go down and watch what's happening. How does this work? Who are the players? What's the mechanics of this thing? So the second time you go down, you might actually bid on it. But that's a good thing because it keeps your competition down, right? Everybody talks a good game, but there's very few people that actually do anything. And you guys know it. The world is full of BS. But tens of thousands of properties get auctioned off. And not all of them are good deals, but you know how to look through and find the good deals. That's the key, right? So this one was a good story because this is level 4 real estate. So eventually you get to be the bank. So this is the family. I put a sign in front of the house. And 20 minutes later, these people called up and said, we want that property. We want it. We live across the street. We knew the people that lived there. We want it. We want it. We want it. Okay. And you want to see my high-tech marketing system? I've spent a lot of money on this. I spent $2.95 on that 20 years ago. And I still have it. Okay,
Wow.
it's maybe millions of dollars. Okay. So here's the cool thing though. Do I have it? No, I didn't have it. Okay. I'll tell you the story. This is a good story. So, they said, well, we want the property. I said, fine, I'll sell it to you right now for $100,000. It's worth 90. I'll sell it to you for 100. And they said, well, we don't have $100,000. I said, okay, well, let's go to plan B. And you're going to learn how to do this, guys. Most people just give up, right? Plan B. Okay, well, let's get you over to Wells Fargo and you can borrow money from Wells Fargo, give me the 100,000, and then you can make payments to Wells Fargo for the next 30 years. Then they said, well, we have another problem. I said, well, what's that? We don't qualify for a loan. And I knew they wouldn't. I go, oh, well, let's go to plan C. And they said, well, plan C, no one's ever suggested a plan C. I said, well, you're hanging out with the value creation expert, plan C. You want to rent the house. You're going to take care of it. You swear in a stack of Bibles. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Okay, I'll put you to the test. I'm going to put you in probation. You're going to rent the house on probation. What's that mean? I want to see for 2 years that you can pay the rent on time, take care of the house, no cops calling me up in the middle of the night, no fire damage, no garbage, no crap from tenants. You show me that you're going to be the world's best homeowner. And if you do that for 2 years, for 24 months, I'll sell you the house and you don't have to go to a bank. And they were like, oh my God, sure. So for 2 years, they paid me $1,000 a month. So that's 24,000. Subtract what I paid for it, which is 15,301. So how much money do I have in the deal at this point after 24 months? I paid 15,300. They've paid me 24,000. How much of my money is in the deal?
None.
None. Now, where did the other $8,000 go?
Hip pocket bank.
My wife. If you guys are married, you'll understand. It goes to your spouse for putting up with my real estate stories. So she's like, okay, you got to pass for a year, $8,000. Okay. But so at the end of 24 months, we go to a lawyer's office, we draw up some paperwork, and I went poof. And I created $100,000 out of thin air. It didn't exist. And I lent it to them. And now they're making payments to me, I don't know, at 8%. So what's my rate of return every time I get a check for $1,000 from that house? What's my rate of return on my investment?
Infinite.
Infinity. How many of those deals do you want to do?
A gazillion. Is that a number?
Exactly. As many as you can get your hands on. Once you can do one, you can do 50. Okay. And if you're really ambitious, you can do 100. Okay. So it's getting a model that works, and then it's scalable, right? One of the ways I don't have problems with tenants is those people took care of the house for 2 years. I didn't have to do anything. They fixed the air conditioner. They fixed the plumbing. They fixed all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, okay, they put the money into it. Why? Because of the value proposition. They weren't getting a rental house. They were getting a pathway to ownership that they would have never had without you or me creating that value for them. You guys see what's possible? Okay.
Hey, we did have something to give away. I know we kind of behind, but yeah, we did have a slide. Do you have that slide, Oscar?
You got a slide?
Well,
I'll tell you what I can do. I can give you, do you want the video on how to raise private funds?
Yeah, that's what it is right here.
Okay. I have the YouTube.
There it is right there.
You have it already?
Yep, it's on the screen.
Okay.
So you can type in that or copy paste that into your what's the name and get this nice little video.
Here, I'll tell you what I'm going to do too. I'm going to throw it up in the chat line. I'm
Okay.
going to give you the YouTube one. Hold on. Raising private funds. And by the way, I give this away to anybody that comes to a follow-up meeting from our TGIF group.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the more famous things. So here it is. Raising private funds. How do you raise as much money as you want for real estate deals without ever borrowing a dollar?
Yeah.
I never borrow money.
There's a boom, guys.
There it is. And I learned it here. I didn't know how to do that. And all of a sudden somebody in Renata said, hey, look at this. And I'm like, holy crap, man. Holy moly. I was like so excited because it's like amazing. So it's a great story. It's about 28 minutes long, but you can watch that. Okay, so where was I? I was about to wrap things up here. Where am I? Am I sharing? You're sharing a screen.
Yeah, Oscar pulled it on down. Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap it up here. Okay, so you saw and look, can you get really high tech and do all sorts of crap and hire VAs and all that? Yeah, but you don't have to. right? That's the point. The point is this business is pretty simple, okay? So what I do with all of my tenants, not all of them, but I have them hold signs about, they're getting a free and clear house. Thank you, Renatus. See the guy that says me first casa? This is his first house, okay? These people own their house free and clear. So guys, these pictures are worth millions, okay? Because if you're helping other people like this, the word's going to get out of what you're doing. And you're going to have no shortage of people. They're going to bring you deals. They're going to want to invest in your deals. I mean, all sorts of good things happen when you're creating value for everybody. Okay? It's all about helping the people, man. Those are your customers. So that is a good picture there. See the lady in the wheelchair? This is an interesting story. She never owned anything. Her husband had worked a deal with me and he was paying off the house and he died. He died suddenly and she owed like $15,000. But she had an insurance policy. So she got like $20,000. She paid off the house for 15 grand and now she owns the property free and clear. She not only owns a house, she owns it free and clear. Right? So get educated. This is the quickest way to become wealthy in this country, right? Change yourself. I mean, you're going to think differently. People are going to look at you and go, what's changed? You get a new haircut? It's like, no, I didn't get a new haircut. But the words coming out of your mouth are going to change, right? One thing I'll leave you with, self-development. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said this. Poor people talk about other people. Gossip, right? Folks that are poor tend to talk about other people. Middle-class people talk about ideas. No. I screwed this up. They talk about events. So they talk about like a football game, the kids going to soccer practice, like what's going on in the world, right? But wealthy people talk about ideas because ideas are unlimited. Everything good or bad in this world starts with an idea. And if you're hanging out, when you're ever a bunch of people and you're talking, pay attention to the conversation. Are you talking about people, events, or ideas? It matters. It's gonna shake you up a little bit, right? And you can sometimes steer the conversation towards ideas, right? All of a sudden, now you're the leader of that group because people are like, where did you learn this stuff? Right? I mean, imagine going into just like a church group or something and going, hey, do you guys know you can create wealth out of thin air? Everyone will call BS on that. But if you can explain it, all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, why didn't I learn this? I've been working for 30 years and I don't have anything to show for it. Just an observation.
Hey, I'm just gonna come
Thank
off.
you. I'm looking at the chat. I didn't see any questions, but I know the chat is booming.
Let me stop.
Oh,
You're on your way to a raise, Bill.
oh,
So let me stop that. And
Boom.
boom. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Appreciate you guys for showing up. For our faithfuls that's here, we had some. Welcome in, Michelle. Thanks for showing up and showing the support. Happy Mother's Day to you guys and everyone that's on Facebook. I see you guys. We see you guys showing out and showing up for us. Appreciate it. Any last words, Jay?
Oh man, enjoy your holidays. If you want to know more about our community, who we are, what we do, the education involved, real estate been an interest of yours, tune into our real estate intro meeting that's getting ready to get started in about 10 minutes from now. If you're on Facebook and you need a link, just put something in the comments so we can see it. Or if you're on here, give the person invited you and they can provide that for you. We wish you all the best in everything that you do.
Take us home, Bobby. In the words of our friend Bobby Johnson, you have been juiced.
Juice.
Juice.
For sure. You enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, see you
Happy
soon.